At Brooklyn Bethel on October 2nd, 1914, Charles Russell made a monumental announcement.
The Gentile times have ended. Their kings have had their day.
Expectations were still running high. Many of the Bible students were hoping for an immediate heavenly reward.
That's the first time in this DVD that you'll hear the word expectations. They're trying to shift the blame as if it's the people's fault for building up their own expectations regarding 1914. These people thought that they were going to heaven only because that's what they were reading in the Watchtower publications.
And I might just say, my mother, she was ready to sell up everything in the home because she thought that the end was coming in 1940.
She thought that the end was coming in 1914. Now you heard it right there from John Barr himself of the governing body.
And her feelings were that of a lot of the brothers back there.
Despite such expectations,
there's the second time that you hear the word expectations. See, they try to shift the blame on the people like it's their fault for building up their own expectations. It wasn't their fault. This stuff didn't magically pop into their heads. It's what they were reading in the Watchtower magazines and books or whatever that was written by Charles Russell himself. He's the one who built up their expectations. It wasn't their fault.
The distressing world conditions that erupted in 1914 would not mean that the Bible student's job was done. Russell felt sure that a great work remained. He wrote,
"We should lose no time dreaming that the door is shut. There are people who are seeking the truth, people who are sitting in darkness." The Watchtower, February 15th, 1915.
Now see, they only quote like a certain Watchtower here. They don't bother to mention the quote, that Russell was predicting the end in 1914, that he thought Jesus' invisible presence was 1874. There's so much that they're leaving out on this DVD. It's just unreal. They would just want to make it seem like, oh, we're coming out of darkness. The organization is finally coming out of darkness or whatever, into the wonderful light. They're leaving out so much in this DVD. It's just so ridiculous.
Yet Russell would not personally reach those people. In 1916, in the course of a preaching tour, he died at the age of 64. He had spent his entire fortune preaching the Bible's message.
It wasn't just the Bible's message, it was a lot of his own message, okay? He put a lot of his own ideas into Watchtower literature and everything, the thing with pyramidology and dates and just a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't even Bible based.
Whereas the majority of the Bible students kept studying the Bible and sharing its message, others simply could not overcome their disappointments. Disappointment that 1914 did not fulfill all their expectations.
That's the third time that you hear the word expectations, like it's their fault, and they make it seem like the ones who left or branched off, well, they're kind of, they should have stuck to the organization or whatever. Why? Something didn't come true. Why would you stay with it? I don't get it. But the word expectation, it's a wriggle word. It's a word that the Watchtower uses a lot to try to shift the blame from themselves.
Compounded by natural grief over Russell's death.
They were greatly upset because they had lost their faithful and discreet slave. They thought that Russell was the faithful and discreet slave. He even admitted it himself.
Well, it was a big shock because they were used to his taking the lead, and they figured he was going to take the lead until the Lord came and took them all to heaven. And they just didn't know what to do for a while. They were totally shocked as to how to carry on.
They didn't know what to do because Charles Russell had built them up so much and everything, and they were very disappointed, these people, the witnesses during that time. I'm kind of anxious to see how the other DVDs are going to turn out regarding this Faith in Action series or whatever. I'd like to know if they're going to show and bring up regarding Joseph Rutherford's date of 1925. I'd like to know if they're going to bring up about Beth Sareem. I'd like to know if they're going to bring up about 1975. Wowee. I'd really like to know about that one. But, yeah. This DVD has left out so much. It's just unreal. I just had to show this part about the word expectations, how they just kind of, shift the blame on the witnesses at that time, like it's their fault. They're the ones who built their own hopes up or whatever. It's not Charles Russell's fault or the Watchtower Society's fault. But I just caught that.